Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a fascinating and, honestly, kind of exhausting dynamic. We're talking about why dwelling on hypothetical realities literally drains the life right out of us. And more importantly, we're going to figure out how we can actually reclaim our power from our own imaginations. So, what if you had made the other choice? You know the feeling, right? It's a question we've all totally tortured ourselves with at least once. Maybe it was taking a different career path, staying in a past relationship, or, I don't know, just wishing you'd ordered the salad instead of that heavy burger yesterday. We have this completely universal human tendency to imagine a perfect, flawless outcome if only we had zigged instead of zagged. And, it feels harmless at first. It just feels like a little innocent daydreaming. But here's where it gets tricky, because this creates a massive core conflict in our brains. On one hand, we build up these elaborate, pristine narratives of missed opportunities, this completely idealized version of the past. But on the other hand, well, there's our actual present, the real, breathing, sometimes messy life we're living right now. When we constantly stack our real life up against this imagined, perfect phantom life, it creates an enormous amount of psychological friction. Which brings us to Section 1, the what-if trap. When imagination causes suffering. Now, let's normalize this for a quick second. Our minds have a beautiful, incredible capacity for imagination. It's a superpower. But when that imagination is misdirected backward, it absolutely fosters deep dissatisfaction and regret. By constantly building these alternative realities based on what-ifs, you are actively highlighting every single perceived flaw in your current situation. Think about it. Your actual, real life simply cannot compete with a fantasy where you never, ever make a mistake. It's a rigged game. Moving on to Section 2, the resistance battle, fighting an unwinnable war against reality. To really understand this internal battle, we first need to define the one thing that actually ends it, which is acceptance. Acceptance means acknowledging and coming to terms with the present moment exactly as it is, without judgment or resistance. And let's dispel a major myth right off the bat here. Acceptance is absolutely not resignation. It doesn't mean you just passively give up and throw in the towel. Not at all. It is simply an active, honest acknowledgement of exactly where your starting line is right now. Because here's the reality. When you refuse to accept your current situation, you're constantly fighting against it. And this refusal manifests as bitterness, deep resentment, and honestly a perpetual feeling of being a victim of circumstance. You end up expending an immense amount of energy in a battle against the past, and it's a battle you fundamentally cannot win, simply because the past has already happened. It's a totally closed loop. Let's dive into Section 3, draining your resources, the hidden costs of if only. There are 3 highly valuable, tangible resources that get totally eroded when your mind gets trapped in one of these if-only loops. First up is time. Any time you spend fantasizing about impossible alternatives is time irrevocably lost from your actual present. It's just gone. Second, energy. Our emotional energy is strictly finite. Dwelling on regrets leads directly to profound emotional exhaustion. And third is mental well-being. The state of constant non-acceptance is a massive breeding ground for chronic stress, anxiety, and depression. And because that emotional energy is finite, the breakdown of how we actually spend it is pretty staggering. When massive chunks of our daily mental bandwidth are dedicated to just dwelling on past regrets and idealizing these phantom alternative futures, it leaves almost zero in the tank for the things that actually matter. It quite literally diminishes your capacity to feel joy or to take any constructive action in your life today. And worse, this massive resource drain creates a vicious self-feeding cycle. The emotional exhaustion and apathy generated by not accepting reality naturally create a ton of negative emotions. And what do we naturally do when we feel negative emotions? We look for an escape hatch. So we retreat right back into our cozy little what-if fantasies. It's an endless cycle of suffering where your negative emotions literally fuel further rumination. It just makes it harder and harder to break out of the trap. Section 4, impeding your growth, missing the lessons right in front of you. Listen to this because it's a really powerful truth we so often overlook. Every life path, regardless of its perceived imperfections, offers unique opportunities for learning, resilience, and personal growth. This is the huge pivot point right here. The actual experiences you are having right now, even the incredibly flawed ones, even the really painful ones, they hold immense value. So when you fixate on what should have been, you are essentially totally stagnating. You're blinded to the present. But when you make that mental switch to recognizing what is, well, suddenly you can start extracting the real-world lessons embedded in your actual experiences. Resisting the present literally prevents you from shaping a better future. Recognizing the present, that's exactly what gives you the power to actually build something better. Okay, Section 5, the path to empowerment, reclaiming your life and energy. The absolute ultimate antidote to all this suffering is conscious acceptance. And I really want you to notice the word conscious there. It is a deliberate, daily choice to actively engage with the present moment. Again, we are not talking about passively enduring your life. Conscious acceptance is a highly pragmatic, powerful tool for transforming your current reality, rather than just endlessly wishing it away. So, how do we actually put that into practice? Step 1, let go. You have to acknowledge the fantasy of what should have been and purposefully release it. Just let it drop. Step 2, embrace what is. Take an honest, clear-eyed look at your current standing without any judgment, just the facts. And finally, step 3, direct your energy. Take all that finite mental bandwidth that was being sucked dry by the past and redirect it entirely toward realistic goals and real-world problem solving today. So, to sum up the core takeaway of this whole explainer, true progress and inner peace are found in a mix of mindfulness and pure pragmatism. We have got to stop endlessly comparing our actual lives to some fictional, flawless ideal. Honestly, that ideal doesn't even exist. Progress only happens when we become incredibly pragmatic about making the absolute most of the reality we are sitting in right now. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought, a little challenge to take with you today. Will you endlessly compare your circumstances to a fantasy, or will you engage with and make the absolute most of the life you actually have? The choice and all of your power is entirely in the present. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.